time for the Cummins Real Estate Group show with the one and only Michelle Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. I think we're on episode 64 of the COVID series.
Not quite. It seems like that, though, doesn't it? It's number 9.
Okay, so it's only been 2 months since we've had you in the studio and we've had you on the phone.
I sure hope it doesn't go too much longer, but, we'll probably have a number 10, but hopefully not number 11. But my offices actually, RE/MAX little offices, aren't opening up till June 1st for the general public, so I'm sure Rogers is going to be probably around there as well, or Country 107.
It's hard to say because one thing our company has said, we've been a leader on everything else, but we are not in any rush to be the leaders of bringing people back to work. So it might go a little longer.
Wonderful.
Who knows? We're like, we're finding that people can work from home and be just as productive. It's interesting.
That is great. And you know what? Why not? Let it go as long as it can. I mean, if everything's going well and everyone's happy and it's working and your economy of your business is still running and operating, it's been fantastic. So why not?
Yeah, I mean it's been going well. It's been working really well. It gets a little lonely in the office as we're not supposed to see each other, so we try to offset each other by a long enough period of time as announcers that we don't cross paths in the studio or in the hallway. So I'm largely alone, and I find I talk to myself a lot. But you know what? I'm enjoying the company.
Now, is that anything different, Curtis? Didn't you talk to yourself before?
True, but the difference is now I answer myself.
Okay, now that could be an issue.
That's the big difference.
That could become a problem.
See, at least you're working from home. You got the office there. You've got your husband there in his studio, keeping out of trouble. But still, you've got some interaction coming while you're still at work.
Did you say out of trouble? I don't know about that.
Well, I was kind of being presumptuous there. I was hoping he was staying out of trouble.
It's true, and I just mowing the lawn for this weekend, and because it's a long weekend, and just in case anybody wants to visit me, although there's no plans, but I thought I better fix the lawn up. But there's a lot of little animals out there, so I call them my friends. I've befriended wild animals this last couple of months.
Okay, so you know what you need? I don't know if you've seen this, but our morning co-host, Jessica Banks, has started building she calls them nut bars for squirrels, and she makes these little wooden, it looks like a bar, like a pub for squirrels. Then she throws nuts in there, and all the squirrels then show up, and it's awesome.
She is so hilarious. I love her. That is awesome. I need that. Wait, but you know what? That's one wild animal I haven't seen out here. I mean, we've got all sorts of birds, and we've got some cats, wild cats, and we've got coyotes, of course. We've got bears.
Trout.
A bear, I should say. Trout. We do. Salmon.
You were fishing yesterday off your dock.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun. But the poor little guy that I caught, he had these big eyes, and he looked at me like, why would you do this to me? And, oh, my gosh, my heart felt for him. So I put him back in the slough.
Yeah, you put him back to fatten him up. I know how this works.
It's true. Actually, it's so funny. I said that as I let him go. Go fatten up, little buddy.
I'll see you in a few months when you're of legal size.
Exactly. Oh, my goodness. This morning I was out, though, walking over the bridge and through the grass in my field that's as tall as my waist because I don't have horses yet. But and there were snakes going from the creek up the grass, and we've got these frogs that about a week ago started, what do you call it? When the frog goes ribbit, they ribbit.
Yeah, I think the term you're looking for is ribbit. I don't know if there's a technical term.
They're awesome.
Maybe there's a frog biologist listening that can, fix that for us. But as far as I know, a ribbit is a ribbit is a ribbit.
Ribbit. We had one last year that sounded so ugly. If ugly is a sound, that's what it sounded like.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, it was like, I can't even do it. I can't even sound that ugly.
Okay, now that would be an interesting sound.
It was pretty bad, but okay, we should move on.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about interviewing real estate agents, I think is what we were going to talk about today.
Yes, because it's such a good idea. There's a little over 3,600 realtors in the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board alone. Then there's the Greater Vancouver board, then there's the Chilliwack board and beyond. So there are realtors out there, and when you don't have a referral from somebody you trust and that you know, or you don't have a realtor that you've worked with in the past that you like, then you want to interview your realtors, and it's important because this is one of the biggest decisions you make in our lives is the homes we buy and sell, the properties we buy and sell, our investments. It's big money and it's big risk, and it's an exciting moment, and you want somebody to be there that you trust and that is hopefully is a lifetime relationship, and they can help you just like your financial advisor, that you could just trust them, and they actually have your portfolio and your best in mind. So interviewing a realtor was so important. So I've got 7 questions to ask when interviewing a realtor to represent you. And we'll go through the 7 for buyers and 7 for sellers. Of course, some of them intermingle, but a few of them are different, obviously. And then we'll take our break. But when we come back from the break, we're going to do our week-to-week stats on new listings and sold, so we know what's happening in the real estate local market. And then I've got some amazing featured listings I wanted to talk about. So we'll do that in the second part. But we'll go on with the first. We'll talk about buyers. So in no particular order, I have the 7 questions you should ask a realtor when representing you. And it's Zooming right now, still, I find, is Zooming meetings with clients. And, so ask a few realtors. Say, do you mind having a Zoom meeting with me so we can get to know each other? So the first question, and again, no particular order, do you have another job besides real estate, or is real estate your full-time job? Because some may not know, but you can have more than one job as a realtor, as a licensed realtor. So you sort of want to know if your realtor is 100% working, for you and has their finger on the pulse of real estate, and that is what they do, and that they're obviously hardworking and looking after for you. But, you don't want your realtor to have, a job waiting tables, in the evening you go for dinner and see your realtor serving tables or whatever, right? So you want them concentrating on real estate, and really that is their bread and butter, their breath, their water of life is real estate, is everything. So that's an important question. 2, how well can you show me that the area I'm wanting to buy in? And that is very important. So somebody may even be in a community but not know it very well, or they could be out of the community but know it so well because that is the community they love. I know a couple of realtors that don't live in the community, that they actually have opened up their own primary office and that they've focused on. And everyone thinks, they live there. They must live there because they know it better than anybody else. And they are the billboard realtor for that community, and they do everything in the community, and they're always there, but they don't live there. It could be as simple as maybe their kids go to a certain high school and they just can't, they want to live in the community, but they can't move because, something like that. They don't want to pull their child out of the school that they know, but they will be moving in the community as soon as they can. So their heart is still in that community, and they feel that they live there. So anyways, whether they live there or not, knowing the community, knowing the neighborhood, knowing the schools around, knowing everything that can help you know what is bad for, let's say, crime or not. Across the street can be not the right place to live, but the other side of the street is a great place to live. And realtors really know that if they are honed into the neighborhood or the area you want to live in. So that's a good question. How well do they know it? 3, what are the steps I need to take? What is the process? And hopefully this question, you can Google this question. You can find out different areas, though, do have different things that may come up. So buying a place, in Alberta isn't the same as buying it in BC, and somewhere northern BC or on the island isn't going to be the same as the lower mainland or Vancouver, right? So different areas. So knowing how they communicate the process to you, this will really show you how comfortable they are, knowing the information and how they communicate with you. So it kind of gives you a gut feeling on whether or not they know their stuff and that they can communicate it simply to you. And then 4, how long have you been licensed and selling real estate for? In what areas and what brokerages have you been with? So I find that this one is important because, they could be a new realtor and be amazing. So that doesn't necessarily tell you if they're a good realtor or not, because some realtors who have been in the business a long, long, long time, maybe they don't really, maybe they only work a couple hours a day, or maybe, they haven't taken it just really depends. It really is a personal thing, but knowing who they know, what brokerages they've been with, have they been moving around a lot? Have they been, 5 different brokerages, or have they been in the same one for a long time? It really gives you an idea of who they are in their character and how big their network is. 5. Do you have any questions so far, Curtis?
No, I think so far so good. You're rattling them off.
Okay, 5. And how many transactions do you do on average a year? So this is important because usually I find that a single individual realtor, if they're not in a team, if they're an individual, they can, if they're really good and they're really working full time, they can do up to 60 transactions a year and be completely, attentive and service 100%. So I find that's good. But as soon as it gets over around 60 to 70, depending on how good and how much time they spend, they will need an assistant or maybe another licensed realtor or, somebody to help support the system so nothing's dropped. You know what I mean? So, but it's also good to know that they don't only do 2 transactions a year or, 5 or whatnot. So you kind of want somebody who's hungry, somebody who works hard and who's driven, and that they're going to find you that perfect place. So that's an important question. 6, do you work with anyone? And this question kind of goes with 5 afterwards. So do you have a team? Because now you know how many transactions they do a year. Do you have assistants? Do you work with other realtors? And who will I be solely interacting with you or who else? So you kind of understand how they run their business. So for me, I have a full-time assistant and a part-time assistant. I'm the only licensed realtor besides my mentors, my mentees, who I trust because I've seen them diligently work and they're hard workers and I've mentored them. So I know their work ethic. So I do have a few licensed realtors that, can work in my group when I need them, and they do. So anyway, so that's a good question to know so you know who you're working with. And 7, this is the last one that's, I would say, the top 7 questions. How many buyers do you work with at a time? So I know that I like working with 5 to 8 max buyers myself at a time because buyers there is a lot of time you want to dedicate because you're not just looking at the MLS and what's coming up for sale for them. You're knocking on doors. You're looking at for sale by owners. You're doing everything you can to find them their home in the time frame that they need it, or their investment, or whatever it may be that they're looking for. That's your job as their agent. So that is time consuming. You have to spend the time. You just can't trust that it's just going to pop up one day and it's going to be perfect and rely on that. There's exclusive listings and all sorts of things. So that's why I have a limit myself, and any good agent will have a limit because they don't want to overstretch themselves.
Speaking of limits, we're at our time limit here for segment number 1, so we're going to have to come back and get the other 7 questions out of you.
That sounds great.
All right, so if people want to get information about what you do as a realtor, what can they do?
MichelleCummins.ca.
We're back with more right after this. And we are back with the second segment of the Cummins Real Estate Group show with Michelle Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. Now, we talked about the first 7 questions you would ask a realtor, but that's from one perspective. What about the other, Michelle?
So for sellers, we've got the 7 top ones as well, and a few of them are the same. Of course, the first one, do you do real estate full-time or do you have another job? Second one, how long have you been licensed and do you hold any special certificates, education? Do you have any special networking and referral groups to help better expose my property? So that's one for sellers. So you want to know what your realtor, your listing agent, who's going to represent your property and you, what they have to offer you in those items. 3, how many transactions do you do on average? And with the question goes, who do you work with? Again, this is a question for the buyers. You have a team, assistant, other agents. So again, you know how busy they are and how many buyer leads they are getting that can help you sell your property faster. And you'll get an idea if they are overworked, of course, or have enough people on their team or in their group to not be you be lost in the fold, right? So, you know, your listing and property will be attended to. And of course, you can always, and you should, Google and look at reviews and look how they expose their listings online. See what they're doing. Make sure they don't just post it on the MLS and, you know, and that's it. Just make, you know, this is important. So that's 3. 4, what are all the ways you would market my property and give it exposure to buyers and other agents? Very good question.
Mm-hmm.
5, what are all the services you provide besides the marketing strategy we talked about? So examples, do you include staging, list of referral service partners that, you know, that you can provide to help with repairs or discounts or fixes that I may need before I sell, or even a delay of payments? You know, maybe if, let's say, your street appeal and some things need to be done and you don't have the funds to do it, and you know, maybe there's your realtor, that realtor has an ability to do some stuff, to get some stuff done where the payment is delayed until it completes or extended a bit. So there's different ways that can happen. And also, you know, do they offer professional cleaning service? And every realtor works differently. We're all independent. And so it is up to us and how we run our business and what we offer as far as services. So this is an important question to just ask, what services do you provide or can you provide me? And 6, how well do you know my neighborhood area and who's my property's target buyer, and how will you directly market to them? Because every property, I always say, you know, you can have, you know, every property is unique. Even if you think it's cookie cutter, no, it's unique. There's something about this home and this property that has a very targeted buyer who wants and needs it and who will pay the highest dollar and have less questions and less concerns. And the inspection, you know, if something, they'll be like, I need it. I want that property. You know, they may pay more. They'll pay more a lot of times than somebody else. So how will you, you know, do you know my neighborhood? Do you know my property? And how are you going to find the right buyer for it, the target buyer for it? So that's question 7. What can I expect from the experience? And if I were to hire you, so an example, like, what to expect when I hire you? Like, how do you communicate, and what do you expect of me as the seller? You know, that kind of, just so you have an idea of how they work again. If you do go into a commitment of a multiple listing or exclusive listing with them, is what to expect from their services and what they would expect from you. So that's the 7 for sellers, the top 7 questions. And so I would like to go into our week-to-week. We've been doing this since this is the 9th episode of the COVID-19 series, to keep an eye on the market.
Are you sure it's not the 64th episode? I
know you keep thinking that.
No, I know. Although you were telling me before we started on air here that we're actually you know, getting closer and closer to that 100 episode mark.
We are. We're not too far from it. So I hear when we are at 100 episodes, don't we get like syndication?
Well, that's how the old TV shows always worked.
I think that should happen. Yeah. You know what? At the 100th, we're going to have this big cake, maybe 5 by 10 cake.
Oh, I like cake.
Oh, I think big. And we're going to have our 100th episode. It's going to be fun. Maybe we should film it.
You know what? That's something we should do, because I know that I've seen on Instagram and stuff that you have quite the studio set up with lights and everything for your Zoom meetings.
Yeah, the frosting will melt.
Oh, yeah, right. Good point. Well, we'll just have to eat the cake that much faster.
That's true. Okay, so I'm going to start with Surrey, as I have been doing. I'm going to do the same list, okay? So new listings in Surrey have actually gone up we're at 200, and we were last week at 186. Solds are down, though, 49 from the previous week at 59. Langley, new listings are down 84 from 93 the week before. Solds in Langley are 31, which is up a little bit because it was 29 last week. And Abbotsford, new listings 53, which is down from 75 the week before. And solds is 22, which is only down by 1 because it was 23 the week before. Mission, new listings 16, which is down from 32 the week before, so half down. Solds are 6, which is also down because there was 10 the week before. Maple Ridge, new listings 41, 42 the week before, so almost the same. Solds 9, which is down from 17, almost half from the week before. Chilliwack, new listing 73, which is up because last week it was 65, and sold down a little bit, 21, where last week it was 25. So that is the week by week. Now, if that didn't excite you, I've got some featured listings I wanted to talk about. So these were some awesome listings I wanted our listeners to hear about. If anybody is looking for an awesome top floor corner penthouse condo in White Rock that is right on the beach line. Now, there's no views of the beach. It's a corner, 2 different decks, but the views you've got views of the park, but the beach is right across the street. So you just walk and enjoy it. It's only $459,000. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. The seller is paying for $150,000. They're doing some work on the building right now, like all new decks, all new windows, all new siding. It's looking amazing. It should be done in October is the ETA. And so the buyer is going to get the benefit of like a brand new complex because the seller has already paid for $150,000. And this price at $459,000, I told them to wait to list it until after the work's done because they're going to be able to put $150,000 easy market up at that amount by October. But they've already waited a year and they don't want to wait. So that's it. So somebody is going to make a really good investment by buying this condo. So it's top floor corner unit. It's a unique one. That is what all the investors, that is what you look for right now in today's day and age of everything that's going on, is look for something unique. So if you're going to buy a condo and you're getting an investment, get a top floor corner with 2 decks walking to the beach for $459,000. Okay, so the next one is another condo. Now, this is a pre-construction. So investors, first-time home buyers, it's in the gas town of the Fraser Valley, which is downtown Abbotsford. And it's in the upper Montrose. And I own a condo in this complex. This one is not mine, though, but I'm representing the seller. This is probably going to be completed maybe in September, maybe October, but it is only $469,900. It's going to be brand new, obviously. You'll be the first owner. That means you're going to be grandfathered. You can rent it. Like I said, investor. It is beautiful. They have the brick walls, and if you haven't seen what that building looks like, it truly is like a gas town feel. And then I've got a beautiful brand new house out in Lake, Harrison Mills. So right adjacent to the Harrison River and Hemlock Ski Resort and Sandpiper Golf Course, 15 minutes from Harrison Hot Springs. There's eagles soaring in this area. It's gorgeous. This has a double bay, but one of the bays in the garage, the doors are really high, and it is gorgeous. I just showed it yesterday, and it's just, I just love this house. And it's such a good value for the price. It's $728,888, and that is plus GST 5%, which you could put into your mortgage. So you don't have to come up with the 5% on top of that. It could be part of the mortgage rolled into it, and you save property transfer tax, no property transfer tax. So you save thousands and thousands. And you've got your 2, 5, and 10-year warranty on it, master on the main, 2 bedrooms and a den in a flex area upstairs. It's almost 2,500 square feet. And then the Dominic Lake Resort. So this is like this property is 10 acres. It's 3.5 hours from the Fraser Valley. It's between Merritt and Kamloops. It is 10 acres on Dominic Lake, which is a gorgeous fishing lake, quiet, surrounded by nature, surrounded by Crown land, and it is for sale for $885,000. But the interesting thing about this, if that wasn't already interesting, is that the business owns the land. So no property transfer tax, because if you buy the business, you're not transferring title. You're just transferring the name of the ownership of the company. And this is the only thing the company owns. This is a glorified campground, let's call it. So it's got 26 RV sites, multiple sites on the water, because it's got huge water frontage and docks, and it's got some equipment. It's got this old lodge. It's got a couple cute little cabins. And so they rent it out annually, like annual spaces and everything. That is a great space. And it is this weekend, the Victoria Day long weekend, they're open for business type of thing. So it's really fun there. That is a great opportunity if you have friends that want to get together or family that want to get together to have a getaway for the weekend, to go away, boat on the river or lake, and fish and ATV and do whatever. And you're going to make money. It's a moneymaker. Everything's a write-off because it's a business. Your gas to get there and the things that you improve on it, and there's room for improvement on this too. So there's some good built up. That is just a great investment right there. So the last one I wanted to talk about is my property in Mission off Clay Street. Well, it's not mine, but I'm connected to it. It's 5 acres right adjacent to the Mission Golf Course. So if you love golfing, this is a great one too. But this has a shop that is so gigantic. A realtor's always like, Michelle, are you correct in the size of the shop? Is it really like almost 3,500 square feet? And I say, yes, it is. It really is. It's got a hoist on the one side. It's just amazing. It's got ability to have 2 more hoists on the other side. It's got a bathroom. It's got in-floor heat in the shop. This place is so beautiful, and it could be subdivided. So, and the house, which is a rancher with a full walkout basement with a suite, you can actually subdivide and have a panhandle, separate lot, sell it to your child, or have, a family live there, or just sell it because you wouldn't see them anyways. They'd be in the back of the property. But anyways, that is a great property. So the price of that one is $1,700,000. So that's the top 5 featured listings I wanted to talk about. And Curtis, do we have time to talk about my 3 live open houses I'm doing today and tomorrow?
Sure, why not?
Gosh, you're kind. Okay, so quickly, today I'm actually having one at noon, so from 12 to 2 in Maple Ridge. It is 18,800 square foot lot, fully fenced on McClure Drive. It's 24002 McClure Drive. Just check my Facebook out. It'll Facebook Live. It's a Realtor.ca live open house. It's a 2-story house with a full 2-bedroom basement, walkout basement. And then this one has a shop in the back, a detached shop. And the shop is quite large, not quite as big as that other one I mentioned, but it is quite large. And it's almost 1,100 square feet. And it's got a back road access to the shop. And I've had a contractor make a plan for a carriage house. If somebody wanted to build a carriage house above the shop, that is a potential. So it's a 37 by 27 shop, and the house is beautiful, 12 to 2. And then I'm going to have one corner unit. It's a condo-style townhouse in Mission, and it is really, really cute. The house is vacant, so it's move-in ready. It's off 7th Avenue. It's Unit 2 at 32286. Again, check out the Facebook. $279,000 is all. I mean, it's $279,000. You got a carport. It's a corner unit, private view. It's in the Luther Place is the name of the complex, and it's 1,030 square feet. It is age restricted. You have to be 55 or older. And yeah, so that's the one. It's 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. And then lastly, on Sunday, I'm going to have an open, live open. So on Facebook and Realtor.ca, again, all these are brand new construction. This is 5 acres out near Lake Rock, and it is on Hodgkin Road. So it's about 20 minutes east of Mission on Lougheed Highway. It is a gorgeous, this place is built to the nines. It's overbuilt. He is such a good builder. He really, quality. And I've had construction guys go through, and it's amazing. So it's just not my word for it. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and it's got a fully unfinished basement. The total square footage of the house is almost 4,800 square feet. And it's a slight roll up the hill, so it's not all flat and usable. But the views are of the farmlands and of the mountains. It's gorgeous. The price is $1,398,000, and I'm going to have that open house from 1 to 2, I believe. 1 to 3, on Sunday. So, but check out my Facebook. That might change. Actually, I think it's 3 o'clock. Let me just check right now. Yes, 3 o'clock on Sunday for that one. Okay, so.
All right, well, we're winding up our time here, but I suspect you probably have a quote for us.
I do. So, and just to remind, the live open houses, as long as regular open houses, I might have told it to you earlier, but they take about a half hour or so. So that's what they are. Okay, my quote, and I hope this encourages everyone for the rest of the weekend. Wonderful Victoria Day long weekend. It's courage is not having the strength to go on. It's going on when you don't have the strength. And that's Theodore Roosevelt.
Yes, now that's a quote I do know. It's a great quote. If people want more information about what you do and how you help people buy and sell houses, what can they do?
MichelleCummins.ca.
And be sure to listen in next week when we will talk more real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.